listening to TMZ Movie Crashers.
Welcome back to TMZ's Movie Crashers. I'm your host, Fabian Garcia from TMZ.
I'm your host, Paige Catton from toofab.
Lots of movie news this week. We will quickly go through what we're not going to discuss at length today, including the fact that Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Taylor Paige have been cast in the new Beverly Hills Cop movie. It should be called Beverly Hills Cop 4. Instead, it's being called Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley, which people have problems with. That's being released on Netflix, unfortunately. We're not going to get into that. There's a new Fletch movie with John Hamm. I don't know if you've ever seen that, the old Chevy Chase movie, Fletch. It's from '85. It's a classic Chevy Chase film. Now John Hamm is taking on it's a famous role, funny role. And if you watch the trailer, it's sort of funny. I don't know if John Hamm really captures the Fletch, to be honest with you, but there's that. There's also the fact that Ezra Miller is trying to course correct. They met with some Warner executives last week to talk about The Flash, to talk about all these crazy headlines that have been coming out about them and allegedly doing all these wild things. And supposedly Ezra Miller is going to get on the right path, going to get treatment, and really does not want The Flash to be nixed or anything like that.
They're more upset, just real quick, they're more upset that the film was possibly going to get canceled rather than what people think.
Correct. The story,
which a lot of people weren't okay with.
The story noted that Ezra is apparently more concerned, like you say, about the movie potentially getting canceled entirely than the actual alleged wrongdoing that they're doing out there. So, which is weird.
Yeah.
Aquaman 2 has been pushed back yet again to Christmas of next year.
So Shazam, Fury of the Gods, has been pushed as well.
That's right. And that leads to the speculation that maybe Amber Heard's role is being reworked again. Who knows what's going on there? And we actually just did a story right now on the website. I don't know if you saw this. Charlie Dean, who is a South African actress. She's in this new movie called The Triangle of Sadness with Woody Harrelson. It actually won top honors at Cannes, the Cannes Film Festival. And it's a movie about like a cruise ship and their inhabitants and passengers in a shipwreck and they get washed ashore. It kind of looks like a really dark comedy. Wow. She's the lead in that. She's a young woman. She's like a model and actress, super beautiful. She's 32 years old. She just passed.
Oh my God.
We literally just broke that story on TMZ right now. Sudden illness. Her rep tells us sudden illness. We don't know exactly what the illness was, but she passed away. She was literally at Cannes with Woody and the whole cast in May. And she was an up and coming star. She was on the CW as well for Black Lightning is the show.
My God, yeah.
So she just suddenly passed away. That's super crazy. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that stuff at length. Rest in peace to her, obviously.
Yeah.
Where we are going to start today, though, is with the big motion picture. We have got to talk about this Olivia Wilde, Shia LaBeouf, Don't Worry, Darling drama that continues to brew and to fester. Yeah. It's insane. So I'll quickly just kind of lay out what's going on here. So Olivia Wilde graced the cover of Variety, I think last week. She did this big profile piece with them, talking about the movie, talking about all sorts of things, but mostly the movie, Don't Worry, Darling, coming out in September. And she talked about Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf was originally cast to play the lead, Jack, was eventually replaced with Harry Styles, her current boyfriend, and Harry Styles is the co-lead with Florence Pugh.
Yes.
Olivia Wilde was asked about why Shia was replaced, and she seemingly confirmed that he was in fact fired by her. At least that was the reporting back then, because Variety reported that Shia had been fired and replaced by Harry Styles. And she confirmed that. She said, yeah, I mean, we replaced them for these reasons. Can you read her quote as to why exactly she says they replaced Shia?
So she said, I say this as someone who is such an admirer of his work. His process was not conducive to the ethos that I demand in my productions. He has a process that, in some ways, seems to require a combative energy. I don't personally believe that is conducive to the best performances. I believe that creating a safe, trusting environment is the best way to get people to do their best work. Ultimately, my responsibility is to the production and to the cast to protect them. That was my job.
Yeah, so basically, and then if you read that full article on Variety, they note Shia was fired.
Yes.
That's what they're saying. Olivia did not push back on that at all. If anything, with that quote, she seemingly confirmed it and said, yes, I did fire him. Here's why. Yeah. Supposedly he has some kind of combative acting style or method or whatever, and that it wasn't safe, supposedly. That's kind of the vibe she was putting off, that it wasn't safe.
Yeah.
I had to protect my cast. Seemingly, based on that, it sounds like she's talking about Florence Pugh, like I had to protect Florence. And here's the thing. The new news is that Shia LaBeouf has come out publicly, pushed back against that narrative, said it's false. He told Variety, I did not get fired from Olivia Wilde's production, Don't Worry, Darling. I quit that job voluntarily because he cited a lack of rehearsal time with the actors. He said that we weren't able to rehearse enough. I felt like I wasn't getting enough preparation for that role. And not only that, but Variety notes that he pulled out a bunch of texts and emails, basically receipts, between himself and Olivia Wilde.
And one of the emails, I think two of them actually were sent right after the Variety profile came out. So he was like immediately like, let me tell you why this is
Yeah,
he
emailed Olivia Wilde right after that story dropped.
Yeah.
And it's a long email. We're not even going to get into all of it. But basically he says, hey, Olivia, I hope you're doing well. I just want to let you know that I'm kind of bummed by the fact that you claimed that I had been fired from this movie when we both know the truth, which is that I walked away on my own. I quit basically voluntarily because things just weren't working out. And not only that, but I have text messages and emails between both of us back then, like 2 years ago about this point, basically confirming that.
2020, yeah.
And he describes one video that he says that she sent him at the time, basically begging him to stay on the movie, trying to get him to stay on the movie.
A couple days after he said he was leaving.
Yes.
So he'd already said, I'm done, and then she sent this
So here's
video.
the thing. That video that Shia describes to Variety leaked online. How it leaked? Who leaked? Who knows? I don't know where it came from. Probably Shia, I'm guessing. That video of Olivia Wilde sending a message to Shia leaked online, and I got to say, it speaks for itself. Let's actually watch that clip real quick.
Shia. I just went riding my horse, very sweaty, but I wanted to reach out because I feel like I'm not ready to give up on this yet, and I too am heartbroken, and I want to figure this out. And you know, I think this might be a bit of a wake-up call for Miss Flo, and I want to know if you're open to giving this a shot with me, with us. If she really commits, if she really puts her mind and heart into it at this point, and if you guys can make peace, and I respect your point of view, I respect hers, but if you guys can do it, what do you think? Is there hope? Is there hope? Will you let me know? Okay, bye.
So there it is. There's Olivia Wilde. This is the video that Shia claims she sent him at the time when he was leaving that production. And I got to say, it appears to frankly just confirm exactly what he's saying, that I quit, I didn't get fired, you were actually begging me to stay on the production, you were trying to find a way so we could work it out. And I got to be honest, this is damning. This is damning for Olivia Wilde. It looks terrible. Where do you land on it? I mean, I'm at a loss for words, frankly.
I mean, as this whole drama has unfolded, I'm like becoming less and less, liking Olivia less and less.
And believing her less and less.
Yes. Like, I'm just like, it's just, you used the word shady previously, and I think she's really being shady here.
Yeah.
The video, I had mentioned this to you, really, and even just hearing it again, really pisses me off in many ways. First of all, she essentially threw Flo under the bus.
She did.
And the way she spoke about Florence really bothered me. You know, calling her Miss Flo. Like, first of all, I don't know if Florence likes to be called that. I know she likes to be called Flo, but I don't know. The way she described her is almost like...
It's condescending.
Yes, like she's like a little girl almost. The whole thing that... she needs a wake-up call if she really commits. Okay, anyone that has seen Florence Pugh act, by the way, Oscar nominated
100%
actress Florence Pugh.
Yes.
Have you seen her in anything? She commits to everything.
100%.
So that's just bullshit, okay?
Yeah.
And then the most disgusting, and I've used this, I'm going to use this word several times. The most disgusting thing about it is that the fact that Olivia sent the video at all, essentially begging Shia, who has been accused of abuse, to come back to the film, despite the fact that Flo was allegedly uncomfortable with him, or they didn't get along together.
Right, there was something going on.
There was something going on. We don't know what it is. By the way, let's make that clear. We do not know what it is. They didn't really specify, but there was allusions to tension between them. That something, maybe their acting styles didn't, or something.
That, or maybe Florence Pugh was just uncomfortable with the fact that Shia was working on there, because at the time, we should mention, he was hired for this movie sometime in 2020, right? And they started production in 2020 as well. Around that time is when Shia LaBeouf was publicly accused by FKA Twigs of some horrible things, sexual battery, all this sorts of stuff. He had denied some of that stuff at the time. Now he seems to kind of be copping to it. We'll talk about that in a second. But all of this was happening at the time when he was being publicly accused, publicly being labeled as an alleged abuser, etc. And that was happening at the same time when he was working on Don't Worry, Darling. It's very possible that Florence Pugh was just from that alone was like, hey, I can't work with him anymore kind of thing. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it was something else. But go on.
And also, I mean, ultimately, what she said in the video kind of directly contradicts the statement that she said to Variety.
Yes, it does.
Because if Florence, there was some sort of discomfort on her level, it seems like, right? So she's talking about making a safe environment and, wanting
Protecting
everyone
my
to be comfortable,
actors.
protecting the actors. Yet here you are encouraging this man who is, allegedly combative
Right.
and not getting along with your not getting along in
with your lead star.
making your lead star uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you're begging him to stay on.
Yeah,
You're
so
not protecting your
It's
actress.
the opposite.
It's the opposite.
Especially if you look at it from Florence Pugh's
Exactly.
point of view. And granted, she has not spoken on this herself. This is all speculation on our
Yes.
end, but let's just run with it here. If Florence Pugh was in fact uncomfortable with Shia LaBeouf for whatever reason and didn't feel safe or whatever, here's this video of Olivia Wilde, the director, right? Literally begging Shia LaBeouf and sending these overtures. Hey, can we work it out, please? Like, just let me know. I really want to keep you on. That's a bad look.
Especially because publicly she's all like, oh my God, Florence is amazing. Oh, Florence this, Florence that.
Yes.
Even in the Variety profile, she's awesome.
Keeping
I wanted
the
her
praise.
for the role, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And it's like, bitch.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree. I agree. I got to be honest. I agree.
I'm
and
sorry,
like,
not to be bitch, but
no,
like,
it's
come
true.
on.
And I got to be honest. Olivia
It really
Wilde.
pissed me off.
The longer this saga drags out, and it is dragging out a lot. Remember, we previously spoke about this movie where Florence Pugh and Olivia were allegedly beefing or supposedly beefing because Florence Pugh would not acknowledge her at all or this movie at all on social media. Florence has since posted a promo for it, but that's about it. I got to say, there is something, when there's smoke, there's fire. There's a hell of a lot of smoke here, and I believe there's a huge fire. There's something.
The film's coming out soon.
The film is coming out soon. The Shia LaBeouf thing, that's a new element on top of what was going on between Olivia and Harry and the friction between them and Florence. So I got to say, Olivia Wilde looks awful.
So bad.
The more this goes on, it looks awful. Florence Pugh has reportedly decided that she is no longer going to be doing press about this movie outside of Venice because they're going to be screening this movie at Venice very soon in the coming weeks. And she'll talk about it then. We'll see. I'm very curious to see what she gets asked and what she actually says about it and the body language between her and Olivia, because I got to be honest, this rift is real. It's real.
Yeah.
And with Shia LaBeouf now publicly speaking out and defending himself, it's a drama. And I got to say, despite Shia LaBeouf's flaws, because he's a flawed human being, there's no doubt about that. And he has allegedly done some terrible things and apparently even copped to doing some terrible things. He has said it through himself. Despite that, Olivia Wilde, in this specific situation, looks like the bad guy.
Yeah, Shia brought out the receipts. Again,
He
not
brought the
defending
receipts.
him, but in this sense, in this situation, he brought out the receipts.
Yes, he did.
And he and that video, again, damning.
It's so damning. I just don't know why Olivia Wilde is apparently, I got to say it, she's apparently lying. She appears to be lying through her teeth and trying to make this movie and everything look all kumbaya and cozy and really trying to prop herself up as this I'm a fighter for women. I'm a fighter for the, you know what I mean? Just this really
no, you are. No,
if anything, it appears to be the opposite.
The writing's on the wall here.
Yes, and let's quickly pivot to Shia LaBeouf real quick because he's in the news as well, sort of in conjunction with this, but sort of separately from this.
Yes.
Shia LaBeouf is trying to do a comeback right now. He is on a redemption tour. He's been doing a lot of interviews lately talking about basically asking for forgiveness for the things that he has done. He has noted, and without getting specific about certain claims, what FKA Twigs has accused him of, sexual battery, things like that, and allegedly giving her some kind of STD knowingly, things like that. He has copped to some of it, not all of it. He has sort of generally said in an interview with John Bernthal in his podcast, Real Ones, he basically said, I wronged that woman. He didn't name her. But he basically talked about that, how he hit rock bottom in 2020 when all these accusations were coming out. And he finally had to kind of look himself in the mirror.
He said he almost contemplated suicide.
He was contemplating suicide. He had a gun in his hand. He was at rock bottom. And Shia LaBeouf has been in and out of rehab for alcoholism and all sorts of things over the years.
Yeah.
But in this moment, Shia LaBeouf says, this is when I finally had to get real and say, what is the problem with me? What is going on? Why are all these things happening, right? And it seems like he had a real come to Jesus kind of moment or whatever.
Yeah.
And if that's in fact the case, I want to say this. I like Shia LaBeouf. I think as far as an acting, he's a great actor in my opinion. And some roles are misses, others are more impressive to me as far as his dramatic chops, but he's got chops. I've seen it over the years. He's got chops.
Yeah.
His movie Honey Boy was really good, even though supposedly that's now a fraud because Shia himself has said that movie was not even true, painting his dad as this abuser.
I was so upset over that. I was like, are you serious?
Because it was a really...
Sounds like the main point.
It's an autobiographical movie, and he
Yeah.
made his dad seem like a monster in that movie. He played his own dad in the movie.
I know.
And now he's coming out and saying, I did wrong by my dad. My dad was not that guy.
He was loving but lovable.
Right. So So Shia LaBeouf is going through it right now. He's in this new movie with the help of Mel Gibson apparently, which is kind of a bad look too. But whatever. I'm not going to get into all that. But he's playing this. He's in this new movie where he's playing a priest, and he really went through a process in playing that priest and going to like missionaries and learning Latin and things like that. So I just want to say, if Shia LaBeouf is trying to make a comeback and is actually remorseful for the things that he's done and is trying to be a better person, I'm all for that. Okay. I'm all for forgiveness. Like anybody, like even the worst of the, well, maybe not the worst of the Me Too people, because like some things are unforgivable.
Like Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, like some things are unforgivable. But even the people that have been accused in Me Too and with lots of accusers or whatever, if they come out and they're genuinely remorseful and they're apologetic, like is Shia LaBeouf deserving of redemption, in my opinion? Is he deserving of forgiveness? In my opinion, yes. He is, especially for the things that he's not at the top of the Me Too list by far. He's somewhere on there, right? Maybe in the middle, maybe on the lower end, but I see the genuine attempt to do right. I see that now. At least that's what I'm perceiving. He seems genuine. Whether he's actually being genuine or not, who knows? You never really know. But where do you land on that? Like, is he deserving of this redemption? Because I got to be honest, there's so much vitriol aimed at Shia LaBeouf right now. You hop on Twitter, people are like, oh my God, why are you giving this monster a platform and this abuser a platform? Like, why are we even entertaining anything Shia LaBeouf says? And I see this vitriol and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? This is what's wrong with society right now. The fact that nobody is just open, like, okay, we hear you. You can become a good person again. Why are we closing the door on people and shutting them out for good? We should not be doing that with Shia LaBeouf, in my opinion. Where are you on that? I mean,
okay, so I am a little torn because I really like, as you mentioned, I like Shia LaBeouf as an actor. I think he's great. I think especially Honey Boy was probably one of the best roles I've seen him in.
Did you see The Peanut Butter Falcon, by the way?
No, I wanted to though.
Really good movie.
Really good.
It's a really good movie.
With Dakota Johnson, I heard that was really good. And
even with that, sorry to interrupt, but that Netflix movie that came out in 2021 or maybe last year.
Oh, Pieces of a Woman.
Yes, he was fantastic in that too.
Yeah, they took him like totally off the market, the
press tour. Yeah. So he was good in this. So he's done some good movies. Go on, continue, please.
Okay, so aside from people like Harvey Weinstein and that degree of
the upper echelon,
yes, that degree, I think that all of these people that have been accused of horrible things deserve a chance to have a comeback. Okay. And I've mentioned this before, that I think a lot of the time has to do with a lot of it. I think people need enough time. Like they say, time heals all wounds. Okay. FK Twigs filed her lawsuit in December 2020. It hasn't even been 2 years. I think it's a little.
And I don't think it's resolved yet either.
No.
I think it's still ongoing.
I don't think it is either. So I think it might be a little too soon for people in Hollywood to like welcome him back.
But why though? Is it just like an arbitrary time frame that you're setting on things?
No, I think it's because the degree of what he's been accused of. It's not something like James Franco. Like it's not just like not that this isn't a crime that needs to be taken seriously, but like sexual harassment or something like that. It's much worse than that. These allegations.
It though? Let's actually get specific about what the allegations are against Shia LaBeouf. It's the fact
relentless abuse, including sexual battery, assault, infliction of emotional distress.
But what does that mean though? Like, is she claiming that he raped her? That's not what she's claiming. It sounds like what it is here's what I think is what FK is accusing him of. Being super controlling and possessive and kind of crazy, and that she mentions that in her lawsuit. And he was like stalking her and this and that, and like always asking who are you texting, what's going on. So there's that. They were together as a couple. They were having sex as a couple, and it sounds like what it is that he did not tell her he had STDs or whatever, right?
That was also in there. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what it is. It's not like he
assault.
Assault, like hit her or something, or
it said, I don't know, the lawsuit said assault. I'm not sure if it was physical.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's a little murky as to what exactly it is. You know what I mean?
I think that I don't know. I feel like these degrees of allegations, whether or not I'm believing the victim in this situation, but in most situations, but I think that I do like that he's owning up to his faults. I think that obviously that's the first step.
Yeah.
But I mentioned this to you earlier. I think that he needs to mention her by name. And I don't know if there's a legal thing in there. I don't know. Maybe
there is.
He
I don't
can't
know.
Because he's like, I hurt that woman. I effed up.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done this. But then he said like, she saved me. Like he called her his savior.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's like if you're crediting her and you want to right these wrongs, kept talking about I need to make amends. I need to do this for the rest of my life. I'm going to make amends and make things right. I'm going to be patient. All of that's great. I'm glad that he's taking accountability for what he's done. But I think that maybe he should wait another year. Give people more time to heal. Especially now because he's, in the news with the whole "Don't Worry, Darling" stuff. People are immediately going to go into defense mode. Like, why are we even giving a platform? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? I think that.
So it's just a time thing then, because to me it's like
I think it's the degree of what he's been accused of and time. So I think it needs to be like, if it was something like a lesser allegations or something not as disturbing, I think that maybe like now would be okay.
I understand what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
It does, but to me, I got to be honest, that sort of logic is arbitrary to me. It's like, like the degree, it should correlate to the time, but who decides the time? You know what I mean? It's arbitrary.
This is just like what
Of course,
this is how I think.
I understand. I get that.
And I do think he should, but I think unless it's like a legal thing, I think he should like mention her by name. Be like, because he's always denied the allegations.
He did. He was denying them
even in like
up
the letter
front.
to Olivia, he was like, oh, what I did to FKA, da 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 da.
Right.
But like, it's why in the interview with John Bernthal, he's talking about all this stuff. Why didn't he say like, I hurt FKA Twigs. I did this to her.
Yeah,
like, why
I mean, I agree. If
it's
it's not a legal thing, and his lawyers are telling him not to name her, that's one thing. But if it's not a legal thing, then yeah, I agree. He probably should name her.
Like, I want him to be like, I'm sorry.
Right. Look
just
right
straight up.
Yeah.
Look in the camera and be like, I'm sorry, FKA Twigs.
100%. That would go a long way, I think, in
Yeah.
my opinion, because you're right. He's saying a lot without maybe saying the really meaningful part.
Yeah, and I listened to a decent amount of it's a 2-hour podcast, so I listened to a decent amount of it.
So did I.
And, he says a lot of go in circles and ego death and like a lot of this mumbo jumbo, and it's like, what are you saying?
True. He speaks in riddles a lot.
Yes, and so I'm like, I know when I was trying to write it, I'm like, what are you saying? But
Right.
I do think, like, I will admit, I think that he is taking the steps to redemption,
Right.
which I think is,
and
like
maybe he's taking some side steps along the way here
Yes.
and there, but so that's I guess
you got to start somewhere.
I agree, and so maybe for you, maybe needs a little bit more time, but you're not close to the idea that he could potentially just be redeemed.
No, I think that he has a chance to be able to.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that there.
Yeah.
We will. That's a good conversation. We are going to go ahead and move on to our next segment, though, which is the Hollywood Hoedown.
Much lighter topic.
Yes, Hollywood Hoedown. Here we go. Oh yeah. This one is going to be short and sweet. This is Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al Yankovic, and the full trailer for this biopic of him playing Weird Al.
The Weird Al Yankovic story.
Exactly. The full trailer just got released this week, and it is something. We're going to play just a brief section of it. Let's actually just hop right into it. Here's a brief few seconds from the trailer from that movie. Let's hear it now.
I'm tired of people thinking I'm some kind of joke.
Your dad and I agreed it would be best if you just stop being who you are and doing the things you love.
My whole life, all I wanted.
I'm afraid we found your son at a polka party.
Is to make up new words to a song that already exists.
Oh, well, you should do that then.
Who my little hungry one? Hungry one, open up a package of my banana.
So there it is. Daniel Radcliffe going full Weird Al in a very weird trailer. So basically, we should kind of explain. People don't know. Weird Al Yankovic is a famous song parody writer and singer. That's his shtick, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
He's a comedian and stuff. But he basically got famous in the 80s and in the 90s as well for making these like goofy songs off of already famous songs, like My Sharona, My Bologna. He did Eat It for Beat It. You know what I mean? Like he did even another Michael Jackson song like Bad. He did Fat, like I'm fat, I'm fat. There's a whole video for it. It's funny. Weird Al he's famous for that. The parody songs, they're like the ultimate parody. And now
people love him.
They do. And now Daniel Radcliffe is playing him in a sort of a biopic. And at first, when Daniel Radcliffe was cast, I was rolling my eyes. I thought I died because my eyes rolled back so far. Like, I was like, wait, what? Daniel Radcliffe, who's like 5'6", 5'7", who's tiny, frankly. What? He's 5'5"? My God, that's even worse. So I was like, why is this tiny guy who really looks nothing like Weird Al at all? And once the first look started coming out of him in costume and makeup, I was like, this looks awful. Yeah. Now I understand. This Weird Al movie is a parody of biopics.
Yes.
So it leans fully into the spirit of Weird Al because Weird Al already does parodies himself of songs. Now this movie is a parody of biopics. It's not taking itself seriously.
So like one thing that I actually didn't know. So Weird Al abstains from alcohol and profanity and drugs and all that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's what's so crazy about when he's like in the trailer. Radcliffe's Weird Al is like drinking and getting into drugs, like the whole like they do in like biopics, and it's totally like it's the
cliche.
But it's a cliche for
the
these
montage,
biopics.
the montage
Think
of the
like
start,
Rocket Man or like Elvis. I hate to say that, but that's like kind of what happens.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's totally like
they're making
it's
fun
not
of
even
it.
accurate. Yeah,
it's not even accurate.
Making fun of.
So
these
now
biopics.
I get the joke. The joke is that this whole movie is a joke essentially, and they're fully leaning into the joke. Obviously, Daniel Radcliffe is a total miscast, but that's kind of the point. You know what I mean? And Evan Rachel Wood is in there as playing Madonna. There's like a makeout scene and stuff.
They said they had sex together.
Yeah, it's funny. And so basically, the comparison people are making from this is, first of all, people are loving this trailer. Yeah. They're going crazy
for it.
Yeah, they're all for it, and they're saying this is the modern day Walk Hard movie. Do you remember that movie, Walk Hard?
I've never seen it, but
it's with what's the guy's name? John C. Reilly. John C. Reilly, basically playing like a version of
like Johnny Cash.
Yes, Johnny Cash. Correct. Thank you. I'm losing names today for whatever reason.
Okay.
So he's playing a parody version of Johnny Cash and kind of making fun of the biopic genre itself. That movie came out in like the mid 2000s. It's an oldie but goodie. Yeah. And now people are saying this is the modern day version of that, the Dewey Cox Walk Hard story. And they're saying it looks kind of funny. I'm not even gonna say I'm gonna see it because it's an exclusive release on the Roku channel. Who the hell has the Roku channel?
Well,
I'm sorry.
People have Roku TVs. I have a Roku TV.
Okay, so I guess if you have that, maybe you can see it.
Yeah,
but
a lot of people have Roku TVs.
Yeah, but I don't have a Roku TV. You think I'm gonna get a Roku subscription to watch this movie?
No.
Hell no, I'm not gonna do that. Which is what here's my only beef with this is that it's unfortunate that it's being exclusively released through the Roku channel. There's a lot of exclusive releases these days through like whether it's Netflix or whether it's Hulu or whatever. So it's kind of a pain in the ass because there are good movies. This looks kind of good.
Yeah.
I would totally watch it.
So entertaining.
I would totally watch it if it was just in theaters. Don't make me jump through hoops to get Roku and this and all this bull crap. Like just let me watch it on a regular theater. Like let me just enjoy it. But no, all this gatekeeping and all this like I'm sorry, I'm probably not going to watch this movie because I'm not going to go through all the burden of getting Roku and the Roku channel and a subscription and all this crap. I just can't do it. Yeah. You're making it too difficult for me to enjoy it, so therefore I'm probably not. Where do you land on it?
So I love Daniel Radcliffe. I should say that. I'm like a diehard Harry Potter fan.
Like,
I like Daniel Radcliffe's one of my first crushes. I know it's kind of embarrassing to admit now. No offense, Daniel Radcliffe, but I loved him when I was a kid. So a lot of people pointed this out on Twitter. How Daniel Radcliffe's post, people bring this up every once in a while about how his career post Harry Potter has just been like wacky. Like
it's been all over the place.
But it's awesome though. He literally is just like, I made $1 billion and now I have all this money and I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want.
And he has done that.
Just some kooky, weird, like have you seen him doing like Miracle Workers and doing the Vogue dance with like Steve Bishop? Like it's just so wacky. And
he's all over the place.
He's like, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do and people can accept it. He's having a blast. And you can tell he's having so much fun. And Weird Al actually
has supported this movie.
Yes, he's actually a co-writer on it. Right. And he actually chose Daniel Radcliffe. Daniel Radcliffe said that Weird Al chose him after, this was like years ago, like 2010. He saw him rap this, sung the Elements song, I guess, on the Graham Norton show and said, and
I remember that. I remember that video. Yeah, it's a famous one. Jesus.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So good for Daniel Radcliffe.
I'm excited for it.
I am too.
Funny.
I'm not sure if I'm actually going to see it. We'll see. I know you'll see it, so maybe you can tell us about it when it comes out.
I will.
And with that, we'll move on to our final segment, which is What'd You See? What'd you think? We'll keep this one really brief.
We don't have a lot of good things to say.
No, not really. It was a stinker of a weekend with the movies that came out this weekend. First of all, the box office was shit.
Yeah.
The numbers were terrible. The Invitation was the top movie that came out. $7 million. That's it.
Yeah.
That was the highest grossing movie this weekend. $7 million
and
total.
Like I mentioned this to you earlier.
That's
this
insane.
Is nuts. So it's the first time since 1996 that the #1 film in August earned less than $10 million.
That's
since 1996.
So it's literally been decades, essentially, since we've had that low of a box office haul for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
3 big movies came out this weekend: The Invitation, Breaking, and this Idris Elba movie called 300 Years of Longing or whatever. Tell us about The Invitation real quick, because you saw that. I did not see that one myself.
Okay, so basically, they kind of the trailers kind of make it seem like it's almost like a Ready or Not thing, in the sense that like she's invited. It's like a long lost relative. She does a DNA test. She's invited to this house, and there's like a conspiracy afoot.
Yeah, it's like a horror type of thing.
Yes, a horror like thriller thing, and then she like needs to like escape and stuff.
Yeah.
But what they didn't really show much in the trailer, they teased it like a tiny bit, is that it's basically like based on like it's a take on Dracula.
It's a vampire movie.
It's a vampire movie,
okay.
essentially. Yeah,
That's
it's a vampire movie.
Yeah,
but like it. Let's just be real. It was trash. It was not good. It was not good. Okay, and you guys know I'm not a big fan of horror movies, but like, and I was like legit scared at some parts. So
yeah.
got 25% on like Rotten Tomatoes, and it's been going down.
That is
I mean, it was
caca.
pretty crappy. The first act like wasn't terrible. Like when they didn't have the vampire stuff yet, it was more just like she's like
Laying
what's
the
going on,
groundwork.
like
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
creeped out, but she's like forming this romance with like this sexy like his like billionaire who like owns this mansion.
Right.
And then it turns out that he's like a vampire and like wants
she's
to like
the
marry her. And she's
bride.
the bride,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's this whole thing. And he wants, and then. No, and then shit hits the fan, and it's like there's like stakes and all this crazy vampire stuff,
Right.
and it's just like corny as hell. But I mentioned this to you, and I was like, well, it wasn't a total waste of time because Thomas Doherty, who plays Walt, or that's his character's
The main
name,
character,
but main
right.
character,
Yeah.
who's like the Dracula.
Yeah.
He's super hot and he's a nice accent. So
All right,
it wasn't,
so
wasn't a total waste of time.
Some good eye candy.
And Nathalie Emmanuel was great in it too. I just think like they're better. The main two leads could have like it's not their fault. It was the film.
Yeah.
It was the script.
Right on. Okay, so
Yeah.
I saw Breaking, the John Boyega movie, and John Boyega actually he was kind enough to do an interview with us here at TMZ,
Yeah.
and he talked about the character in this story and how lately he's really trying to do roles that are completely different than him, and he did that with this movie.
He's a very talented actor.
He's a talented actor. I feel so bad for him because as good of a job as he did or was trying to do, I should say, in this movie, it was bad. It was bad, and it's not even really his fault, basically. So the Breaking is about this guy who's like, this is based on a real story, by the way. This guy who's like a veteran, a Marine back in the States, getting shafted by the veteran VA, and basically he's living homeless essentially, and he kind of like robs a bank sort of, or he basically like threatens a bank that he's going to blow it up with a bomb if he doesn't get like some money from the VA that he feels like he's entitled to. Causes a whole media scene, circus, all this type of thing. A negotiator gets on the phone. It's Michael K. Williams. It's his last role. It sounds kind of like a promising premise.
Yeah, the trailer looked good.
It's lacking so much drama. It's lacking so much stakes. And even just little technical things, like there's no music. Like there's hardly any score in the movie. So basically, like a lot of the movie, John Boyega is just on the phone talking, and he has scenes where he's like doing outbursts, like I'm gonna blow this place up. He's going crazy, and it's dramatic, and I can appreciate the acting from John there, but it's not elevated by anything. He's holding just two people up as hostages. And it's lacking so much oomph. It really is. Yeah. And like it's just really slow paced and drawn out. And it's just I was snoozing, frankly, through it, to be honest with you. I was like kind of like dozing, nodding off.
No.
And it's kind of, and like I know it's a very different story, but it's kind of like a wannabe John Q. I know you haven't seen John Q, but it's a famous Denzel movie from the early 2000s. It's one of my favorite Denzel performances. So dramatic, so much gravitas in that movie. This is kind of a similar premise where like some guy's holding up a bank for some kind of righteous cause or whatever, and he's getting highly emotional. And John Boyega did a good job, or he was trying to at least, but it wasn't translating on screen, and it just did not do it for me. And that's kind of it. And it did terribly at the box office. I feel so bad. But John Boyega's got other movies coming out. The Woman King is coming out.
Yes, excited
and
for that.
there's other projects of his, so I'm excited to see what he does. But yeah, it was kind of a stinker of a weekend. I'm excited for this weekend because it's like National Cinema Day or something like that, and theaters are going to be offering tickets for $3 a pop on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday. So hopefully people go see the theaters. There's really not a lot coming out this weekend, so I know they need asses in the seats this weekend. If this thing wasn't going on, the $3 ticket thing, it would threaten, I think, to be even lower of a box office this upcoming weekend than the one past. So anyway, we will leave things there. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. We appreciate it. Stream us and listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart. We're on YouTube. We're on the website. And we will check in with you guys next time. Take it easy.
See ya.